Did you know that humans have been telling stories for over 30,000 years? From cave paintings to modern novels, stories are a fundamental part of our culture. But here's a shocking fact. Only 5% of people can tell a truly memorable story. That's right, even though we all tell stories, very few of us do it in a way that leaves a lasting impact. Why is that? Because great storytelling isn't just about telling events. It's about building layers of meaning that resonate with your audience on a deeper level. It's about creating characters that feel real, using silence and subtext to add depth, and weaving multiple threads into a cohesive narrative. In this video, we'll explore 9 powerful tips to transform your stories from good to unforgettable. You'll learn how to find your story's heartbeat, evoke genuine emotions, and use metaphors to add depth. We'll dive into the art of pacing, the power of silence, and the magic of interconnected plots. Get ready to uncover the secrets of great storytelling. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to craft stories that captivate and inspire. So, let's embark on this journey together and start building layers of meaning in your stories. 1. Crafting the core. Finding your story's heartbeat. Every great story has a heartbeat, the central theme that resonates deeply with its audience. Think of your story's core as the pulse that drives everything else. It's the main message or idea you want to convey. For example, consider J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series. At its core, it's about the power of love and friendship. To find your story's heartbeat, start by asking yourself, what is the one thing I want my audience to remember? Once you have that, everything else should align with it. This central theme will guide your characters, plot, and even your setting. Statistics show that stories with a clear message are 22 times more memorable than facts alone. People love stories because they connect on an emotional level. So, make sure your core message is something that stirs emotions. One technique is to distill your message into a single sentence. For instance, love conquers all, or courage in the face of adversity. This helps keep your narrative focused. Additionally, consider using a moral or lesson. This adds a layer of meaning that audiences can reflect on. Think about Aesop's fables. Each story carries a moral that has been remembered for generations. Remember, your story's heartbeat doesn't have to be complex. In fact, simplicity can often be more powerful. The key is to ensure it's genuine and heartfelt. 2. Layering with emotion. Evoking genuine feelings. Emotions are the glue that binds your audience to your story. Without them, even the most well-structured narrative can fall flat. Emotional storytelling isn't just about making your audience feel something, it's about making them feel deeply. One strategy is to show, not tell. Instead of saying, John was sad, show John's slumped shoulders and teary eyes. This technique makes your audience experience the emotions firsthand. A study by the University of California found that readers who visualize emotions are more likely to remember and be moved by the story. Use emotional contrasts to your advantage. Juxtapose moments of joy with sadness, hope with despair. This makes the emotional highs and lows more impactful. Pixar is a master at this. In Up, the joy of Carl and Ellie's life together makes Ellie's death even more heartbreaking. Quotes can also add emotional depth. As Maya Angelou once said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Consider the emotional journey of your characters. What are the desires, fears, and struggles? Make these clear to your audience. When your characters experience genuine emotions, your audience will too. 3. The power of metaphor. Adding depth through symbolism. Metaphors and symbols can transform a simple story into a rich tapestry of meaning. They allow you to say more with less and add layers of depth to your narrative. A metaphor compares two things without using like or as. For example, time is a thief. This simple phrase conveys the idea that time steals moments from our lives, adding a deeper layer to the narrative. Symbols are objects, characters, or events that represent larger ideas. The green light in The Great Gatsby symbolizes Gatsby's hopes and dreams. Using symbols like this can give your story a deeper resonance. Did you know that using metaphors can actually make your story more persuasive? A study from Stanford University found that metaphors can shape how people think and make decisions. To create effective metaphors and symbols, start by identifying the themes of your story. Then, think of objects or ideas that can represent these themes. For example, if your story is about freedom, you might use a bird or an open sky as a symbol. Use metaphors to convey complex emotions or concepts. Instead of saying, "He felt overwhelmed," you might say, "He was drowning in a sea of responsibilities." This creates a vivid image that your audience can easily understand and relate to. Remember to keep your metaphors and symbols consistent throughout your story. This helps reinforce your themes and adds coherence to your narrative. For example, in George Orwell's Animal Farm, the farm itself is a symbol for the Soviet Union. This consistent use of symbolism adds a layer of meaning to the entire story. 4. Character complexity, building multi-dimensional figures. Great stories often have great characters. But what makes a character memorable? It's their complexity and depth. Multi-dimensional characters feel real and relatable, which helps your audience connect with them on a personal level. Start by giving your characters a backstory. Even if all the details don't make it into the final story, knowing your character's history will inform their actions and decisions. Consider Harry Potter's scar. It's not just a mark, it's a constant reminder of his past and his destiny. Characters should also have strengths and flaws. Perfect characters are boring and unrealistic. Give your characters flaws that they struggle with, and let their strengths help them overcome challenges. For example, Sherlock Holmes is brilliant but also has many personal flaws, which makes him fascinating. Another strategy is to show growth and change. Characters who evolve are more engaging. Think of Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. His transformation from miser to benefactor makes the story compelling. Dialogue is key to revealing character. How a character speaks can show their personality, background, and intentions. Use distinct voices for each character to make them stand out. Mark Twain said, "The difference between the almost right word and the right word is really a large matter. 'Tis the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning." 5. Mastering subtext, saying more with less. Subtext is the hidden layer of meaning beneath the surface of your story. It's what's left unsaid but implied, adding depth and complexity. Mastering subtext can make your storytelling more engaging and thought-provoking. One technique is to use dialogue to hint at deeper meanings. Instead of stating everything directly, let your character's words carry hidden messages. For example, if a character says, "It's fine," when it's clearly not, the subtext reveals their true feelings. Body language is another powerful tool for subtext. Show how characters' actions can contradict their words. If a character says they're happy but their shoulders are slumped, the audience will pick up on the true emotion. Situational subtext involves using the context to convey meaning. A simple scene, like a family dinner, can have layers of tension if the characters have unresolved issues. The surface action is eating, but the subtext could be resentment or unspoken love. Ernest Hemingway's iceberg theory is a great example of subtext. He believed that the deeper meaning of a story should not be evident on the surface, but should shine through implicitly. This approach engages the reader, making them part of the storytelling process. Incorporate cultural references and symbols to add subtext. These elements can convey complex ideas in a subtle way. For instance, using a storm to symbolize turmoil can add layers of meaning without explicit explanation. Studies show that readers enjoy stories with subtext more because they engage the mind. A story with subtext feels richer and more rewarding to those who invest in understanding it. 6. Visual storytelling, using imagery to enhance narrative. Visual storytelling isn't just for films. In writing, vivid imagery can make your story come alive in the reader's mind. Using descriptive language to paint pictures helps immerse your audience in the world you've created. Start with the 5 senses. Describe how things look, sound, smell, taste, and feel. This sensory detail can transport your audience into the scene. For example, instead of saying, "The garden was beautiful," describe the fragrance of blooming roses and the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. Use colors to evoke emotions and set the tone. Different colors can convey different moods. Red can suggest passion or danger, while blue might indicate calm or sadness. Think about how these color associations can add depth to your descriptions. Meticulous detail can make ordinary scenes extraordinary. Focus on small, specific elements that make your setting unique. Instead of a generic, old house, describe the creaking wooden floors and faded wallpaper with intricate patterns. Similes and metaphors can enhance your visual storytelling. Comparing something unfamiliar to something familiar helps your audience visualize it. Saying, "The night was as black as coal," gives a clear image of darkness. Avoid information overload. Too much description can overwhelm and bore your audience. Balance detailed imagery with the flow of your narrative. Use vivid scenes to highlight important moments. Research shows that stories with rich imagery can increase comprehension and retention. When readers can visualize the story, they are more likely to remember it. This is because visual information is processed faster and retained longer in our brains. 7. Pacing perfection, timing for maximum impact. Pacing is the rhythm of your story. It controls how fast or slow the narrative unfolds and can significantly impact your audience's engagement. Good pacing keeps readers hooked and ensures the story flows smoothly. Start by planning your story's structure. Use outlines or storyboards to map out key events and how they will unfold. This helps maintain a balanced pace. Think of your story as a roller coaster with peaks of excitement and valleys of calm. Vary your sentence lengths. Short sentences create urgency and tension, while longer sentences can slow things down and provide detail. For example, he ran faster than ever, heart-pounding, versus he ran through the dark, empty streets, his heart pounding in his chest as he pushed himself harder than ever before. Break up long passages with dialogue. Conversations can speed up the pace and provide a break from descriptive or expository text. Remember, dialogue should be snappy and advance the plot. Use cliffhangers at the end of chapters or scenes to keep readers wanting more. Suspenseful endings encourage them to continue reading. A study from Ohio State University found that cliffhangers increase audience engagement by 40%. Control the flow of information. Reveal critical details slowly to build suspense. Don't give everything away at once. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series is a great example of this, where mysteries are unveiled bit by bit, keeping readers eager to find out more. Balance action with reflection. After intense scenes, give your characters and readers time to process what happened. This creates a natural rhythm and prevents fatigue. Stephen King often uses this technique, mixing high-octane scenes with quieter moments. 8. The art of silence, utilizing pauses and quiet moments. Silence in storytelling can be as powerful as words. Strategic pauses and quiet moments can add tension, reflection, and depth to your narrative. Knowing when to slow down can make your story more impactful. Silence can highlight important moments. After a major revelation, give your characters and readers time to absorb the information. This pause can emphasize the significance of the event. Use ellipses in dialogue to indicate pauses. This shows that a character is thinking or hesitant, adding realism to their speech. For instance, "I don't know. Maybe we should try again." Internal monologue is a great way to utilize silence. Let your characters reflect on their thoughts and feelings. This can deepen your audience's understanding of their motivations and conflicts. Setting can also convey silence. Describe quiet environments to create a mood. A scene in a silent, snowy forest can evoke a sense of peace or isolation. In contrast, a quiet, abandoned house can create suspense and unease. Incorporate moments of stillness in action scenes. A brief pause before a climactic event can heighten tension. Think of the silence before a storm. It makes the impending chaos more dramatic. Reflective scenes allow for character development. Use quiet moments for characters to think, grow, and change. These introspective pauses make characters more relatable and real. Cinematic techniques can inspire your writing. Films often use silence effectively. Watch how directors like Alfred Hitchcock create suspense through quiet, drawn-out scenes. Quote from Haruki Murakami, "Silence, I discover, is something you can actually hear." This emphasizes the power of silence in storytelling. 9. Weaving multiple threads, crafting interconnected plots. Interconnected plots can add complexity and depth to your story. They allow you to explore different facets of your narrative and create a richer tapestry of events and characters. Start by planning your main plot and subplots. Each subplot should have its own arc and resolution. However, they should all tie back to the main plot in some way. This creates a cohesive narrative. Use character connections to link plots. Characters from different subplots can interact, influencing each other's stories. This creates a sense of interwoven destinies. Think of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, where multiple characters and storylines are intricately connected. Ensure each subplot is interesting on its own. If a subplot doesn't hold the reader's interest, it can drag down the entire story. Each thread should be engaging and add value to the overall narrative. Balance screen time between plots. Don't let one subplot overshadow the others. Give each thread the attention it needs to develop fully. This balance keeps the reader invested in all parts of the story. Use transitions to move smoothly between plots. Cliffhangers can be effective here, ending one scene with a question and starting another on a different thread. This keeps the reader eager to return to each plotline.